Hello and welcome to Small Business, Big Life inside Fort Orange General Store, where entrepreneurship meets marriage, kids, and controlled chaos. I'm Joe Slicko, and with me, as always, is my wife, business partner, and owner of Fort Orange General Store, Erica Cabello.
Hey Joe, how are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. I'm really excited to talk about this episode.
Well, what a natural transition because in today's episode, we are going to tell our origin story. Dun dun dun. Actually, we're going to tell the story of how we came to own Fort Orange General Store.
We are.
But, Erica, before we do that, we have to ask our listeners to please like or subscribe wherever they listen because it really helps us grow. And more so, it gives us the feedback that they actually care about what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And we're not just talking to dead air because that would be weird.
No, we're doing this for our community.
Yes, we are, hopefully. So please give us that feedback. All right, Erica Cabello.
Joseph Slicko.
I think you should start this story and share with the world, all our amazing listeners that have been on this journey with us, how you broached the subject of purchasing the Fort Orange General Store.
Well, it's really silly, but it's a fun story to tell. I have always loved Fort Orange, and I was a customer of the general store for many years prior to owning it. So naturally, I liked and followed their page on Instagram. So I would see different stories and things pop up on the feed occasionally. And then one day over the summer, 2 years ago, I was laying down with our youngest to put him down for a nap. And it's the perfect time to aimlessly, mindlessly kind of scroll and see what's happening during the day.
The old doom scroll.
It's usually pretty productive, but that day I was especially tired, so I was doom scrolling. But it ended up being a really productive one because I saw that Fort Orange General Store had just gone for sale. And Skylar, the former owner, was in front of the store, posed, and made a beautiful caption about selling Fort Orange. And I was like, oh my God, no way, is this real? So I screenshot it and I sent it to Joe in a text. We should buy this! Exclamation point. Totally joking, right? Like, yes, it would be amazing, but this is a joke. How are we ever going to buy a store? Okay, we have 4 children. We just combined households maybe a month prior, planning a wedding. I run a business already, teach full time. Joe's a principal full time. Like, all the reasons why we can't.
So there I am driving, and I may or may not pay a little too much attention to my phone when driving. So I'm not condoning that. It's a flaw of mine. So please, no one else be like me. Put your phones down while you're driving. But anyway, in this moment, the text came through. I looked at it. Let's pretend I was at like a stoplight or something. And I said, that looks pretty cool. So I texted back, we should do that.
Yes, very enthusiastically.
Now, I'm normally the naysayer. The voice of reason is how I like to portray it. But I'm normally the one to kind of articulate all the reasons why something doesn't make sense at all.
Strangely enough, you're usually the one that says go for it.
Well, that's when it comes to you and things like this, which we'll get into.
Okay.
But for most things, I can see why we shouldn't do something or why something would be frivolous or blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. Not this time. So I shoot the text back. Yes, we should. Let's do it.
And I couldn't believe it. Like, but that's all I needed. That's all I needed to set the ball rolling. I.e., couldn't get it out of my head, right? Like, I just went all in on this idea. And I found the listing agent. I was on the phone the next day. Like, I went all in on the idea. And it was crazy and exciting and a lot of fun. So I was at this moment in time trying to get my house that I had owned for 11 years up for sale to be put on the market in about a month. And I remember like the next day or two being in my old kitchen and painting the cabinets, like all the little marks to make it perfect again, and calling the listing agent, getting on the phone with him, getting some questions answered, talking to my dad, talking to Joe, all the things, like trying to figure it out. So eventually, we we go down to the store. We kind of check it out. We meet with the listing agent. Joe meets with the former owner, and it all just starts happening.
So it was one of those situations where this is not like anything that you plan for, and it's out of a fairy tale, out of a movie. So Skylar, whom we absolutely love and adore, former owner, he's selling the store, and we're going to have him on, so I'm not going to tell his whole story. And that'll be a treat for all of our listeners.
Yes.
But he's selling the store in an emotional way, I'll say. So he's looking to pass the torch to the right people, not necessarily the highest bidder.
Right.
And you're like, yeah, okay, that's not business. That's Skylar, though. And we fell in love with him. So we met with him, I think, that day. I followed up another meeting with him a couple weeks later to go over financials. We ended up talking family 90% of the time, just really getting to know each other. And it was a scenario where Erica sharing an Instagram post put two sets of people together. And again, I don't want to speak for him, but he knew that we were the people to take over Fort Orange and to carry the legacy forward. And we felt he was the person to go into business with,
Right.
to take our first step.
Yeah, and like we don't know each other. We're strangers at this point. And in any type of sale, in any type of business, you want to be as informed as possible. Like you want to be logical, right? But there was just something about this that felt extremely real and truthful. Like he wasn't trying to pull the wool over our eyes. He wasn't trying to sell this for a ridiculous price to make money off of it. We could feel how much he loved this place. And he could feel that back from us. So that like, it was almost like he's interviewing the people he wants to carry on this legacy. And like Joe said, we don't want to put words in his mouth, and we will have him on to tell his story of it all. But I think that's what we have gathered from this transaction, and for knowing him for the last couple of years. So, anyways, we both know that this is what's supposed to happen, and like I had said previously in the episode, that I was getting my house ready to sell, my grandmother's house that I had purchased 11 years earlier. And it all just fell into place, right?
And that was emotional for you.
It was really hard. I never thought that I would not live in that house, let alone not own it. My mom grew up there. My grandmother lived there her entire life except for the last like couple of years. And I bought it from her actually July 13th, 2013. I saw Fort Orange go for sale on July 11th, 2024. So 11 years later, almost to the day. And I sold my house very quickly. It was September, early September. And we were able to purchase the store in late November. And without that house sale, without my grandmother, this never would have happened. And I feel like, what Joe was trying to say was it was very emotional for me because, and we will tell the story of my grandmother more deeply in another episode, but she's always been a very strong role in my life, even after her passing. She she would visit me at my house that I sold, and I knew she was there when big changes were happening because I could smell her Jean Nate, her powder that she put on, and it's a very
Distinct.
distinct scent. So I was so afraid to lose her, so afraid to sell the house because I didn't want to lose that. But I think that she let this happen, and it was her way of saying, do this, despite a lot of other reasons not to, right?
And I mean, I'll even take it a step further and say she made this happen for you, for us, because without, the sale of her house, we would not have had the money to put up for
Right.
the store. So that was the practical side of it. But, and again, you've mentioned it. We'll get into her story and her guidance, you know, with you and on you your entire life that kind of led you to this point. Like she groomed you for this almost. And this was a way to honor her and keep the memory of the house alive as you moved on to your next phase.
Right.
And it all happened magically at the same exact time because it was meant to happen.
It was, yes. There were a lot of things happening at the same time, as Joe just said, and I think that this was her way of saying it's okay to move on. That I want this to happen for you. That she was saying that these are the right choices. You're supposed to be making this, and by selling the house, we were able to not only buy the business, but kind of start our life together in a more real way. Like everything is now together and combined. I was able to move into our beautiful home that we live in together, start this new business that we manage and run together, and really integrate it all into our family life. And to pay respect and keep her legacy going, I thought it was only appropriate to name our LLC after her so that that memory and that honor is always there. She's always a part of our life and our business.
And that was a great, beautiful idea that you had. And when you shared it, it was awesome. It gave me goosebumps
Yeah,
when you told me
thank you.
that.
I was a little scared because we, on our engagement like getaway, we were playing around with the idea. So this was what, like 6 months prior, probably, that oh, we should start a business and we should do this and what would we name it? And we were like trying to come up with silly names, which one really stuck and I loved. And I was so torn between like honoring our idea of a business name and then going in a complete separate direction with this new idea. But it did make the most sense to name it after her.
And there's still room for that other idea
There
to
is.
grow in the future. So we won't drop it just yet.
No, no, it's ours. Um, but yeah, it that's how the story of owning the business and buying the business and keeping the memory of my grandmother alive in it all. And her pictures sit on our counter at the store behind by the cash wrap. And what's really sweet is it's probably going to make me cry, but it replaced Skylar's grandmother who watched over that store when he owned it. And he had a beautiful story to tell about her and why she sat there. And then it just made it that much more right for us to take over because my grandmother was going to sit there now. So,
Great job. You got through it. So now let's talk to all of our entrepreneur friends out there, those that have done it and those that are thinking about doing it. We have 4 kids. We're combining households. I switched jobs the day before we closed on the business. We're planning a wedding. All the things.
we're
We're
in the
learning
thick of
each
it.
other's finances. We were at that stage where we're like, hey, how much money you got? How much money you got? What's your debt like? How are your student loans? Like we're having those conversations, as people do when they come together. And this evolves.
Yeah,
How did that go, Erica?
not smoothly. There were all the reasons why we shouldn't, why we should be careful, you know. Not only is like what Joe just outlined, we met very quickly and got engaged only after a couple of months and planning a wedding 6 months after, meeting each other. And that's a lot for anybody, right?
Any logical person.
So of course, like my family is questioning things and posing different ideas. And then to add in this layer of selling the house, buying a business, why aren't you investing the money? Why aren't you setting your kids up with funds for college? Like why aren't you doing this? Is this a good idea? This is a risk. You don't know what you're doing. What if this? What if that? All of the things. And that only makes your own questions and self doubt like heightened and, more emotional. And am I really making the right decision? Am I crazy? Am I taking on too much? Am I making the right decisions for my kids? Like all the questions. So I guess what it comes down to is that first knowing, right? Like where the idea happened, Joe was on board, there were no questions. Then the idea wouldn't get out of my head, right? And when I get something stuck, I know it's real. And then the sale of the house and those subtle, reassuring moments that, like, Joe and I had many conversations about how is this going to affect the family? How's it going to affect the kids? Can we take this on? And just the support that we both felt from each other and like knowing that this is what we want to do.
Agreed. And, I'm the spreadsheet guy, so I have all, our finances mapped out. We're looking at those, we're combing through them. We're balancing that with, you say investment. We were going to invest this money in something. What was the best thing to invest in? So we're looking at, those things, some of which we're looking at for the first time, trying to figure out, what's the smartest thing to invest in right now? What's tanking? What's not? All the while we're having these conversations and, digging through the store's numbers, making sure it's viable for us, despite our love of Skylar, we still have to,
Right.
do our legwork, which we're doing. And I think the only concern I ever had was not if you could do this, because that never crossed my mind. You're a boss. You've been a boss since the day I met you, which is why I fell in love with you. One of the many reasons why I fell in love with you, but a big one. It was, is it going to be too much and pull you in too many directions given everything that we just shared, all the changes in life happening. Plus, you already own a business.
I know that was a really big worry for me because my first business consumes a lot of time. I was not managing it properly. Now I see that, but I was just very worried like, can I really take this on too?
You can talk about that business. This is our podcast. You can do a little shameless plug. Seriously spotless, ladies and gentlemen.
Green Cleaning Company, it's been around for what, 11 years? I think 11 years. Yeah.
And we happen to sell various Seriously Spotless green cleaning products right at the Fort Orange General Store.
They
We
work better than anything you could buy in a big market store. I make it all myself right here in our own kitchen. Essential oils, things you find right in your pantry. Everything's non toxic, safe for everybody, the earth, family, pets, kids, everybody. Anyways, Seriously Spotless. Look it up Instagram, Facebook, seriouslyspotless.com.
All right. Quick divergence of a story that I wasn't planning to say, but here we are. So, one of the first times I'm over Erica's house when we start dating, the little one's there and he's sitting on the kitchen floor. He's what, 2 at the time? Most likely.
He was only like 1.5.
Wow. Wow.
He was young.
And he opens the cabinet and he grabs this glass bottle and he starts spraying it in his mouth. And I flip out, like panic attack. What is happening? And Erica's like, what? It's not that big a deal. Stop doing that. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, are we going to the hospital? Is he going to die? What are we doing? And that's before I knew exactly what went into
I
her
made
products.
the products when I had my first son for that reason. Not that I'm like leaving the cleaners around or the cabinets unlocked for them to just eat the cleaning supplies, but should an incident like that happen, because that's very scary when you become a new mom or dad, what you don't think of things that you think about when you are a parent. Like 1,001 new worries come to your mind, and one of those is toxic things. What are they going to put in their mouths? So I was cleaning people's houses. I was using chemicals that are horrible and side effects are insane. And a big reason for creating this line was my son, my oldest son. And so the cleaning line has been around for 9 years since he was a baby. I developed it, tested it, tried it out on my own stuff. And one of the reasons I made it was to make sure that it would be safe in an emergency situation like that.
And clearly it was, because he's perfectly fine. Tried and tested.
I wouldn't let him put it in his mouth if I hadn't tested it first. So
Delicious.
it's not delicious. You don't want to drink the stuff, but it's not going to kill you.
I know, I'm just teasing. All right, so we don't listen to anyone and we buy the store. Mm-hmm. Well, we listen to Skylar and ourselves and we buy the store.
Well, we have input from our family. My dad's a big part of helping us make financial decisions. He's a financial advisor and CPA, so I've always gone to him to give me a sounding board on my business decisions, and this was a big one. And he helped guide us with all of the things we should be looking for. As a father, he gave his input, risk, is this going to be the right decision? As our professional, he told us it was not a bad decision. So we went with that. We went with that angle, that perspective.
But to his credit, he gave us the fatherly advice because he owns his own
Right.
business and has done so and has lived it and could probably sit here and tell all these stories, from his point of view back when he was starting out. So you always want better for your kids. You always want different for your kids. You always want to take all the sting away of everything for your kids, even if it is green cleaning products in their mouths. But so, we appreciate that feedback of, be careful. Is
Right.
this really what you want to do? Here's my story.
Right.
Do you want to do the same thing? And then when we say yes, he's there to help us, which is really cool and awesome.
It is. Thank you, Dad.
So then there's the children. Young at the time, a little bit older now. And hey, we bought a store. Well, what does that even mean to, a child, a 2-year-old, a 7, 8, 14, 15,
Right.
running the gamut year old? And how is that going to affect my life as a kid when, the world revolves around me, even though there's 3 other kids here, plus dog and 3 cats running around causing chaos. So do you want to talk a little bit about how they've grown with the store?
It's been incredible. And it was the best decision to make. I'm going to get emotional again. Just seeing them take it on as their own. Joe's son loves to have all the ideas, right? Like, we should sell this and we should sell this. And maybe we should put this in front of the windows so that people see it. But that's as far as he'll go.
Somebody else can do that. He's the idea person.
Right. He's the idea guy.
Now he needs a snack.
And now he needs a break. Then we've got my oldest, who's just a workhorse, and he wants to get his hands dirty when we don't want him to. Like he's wants to learn how to do the tagging gun, all the fun stuff that can be very dangerous. But I mean, he's such a hard worker, and it makes my heart so full to see him there. He wants to learn the register, greet the customers, ask if he can help them. Like, he's in it. And then there is our youngest, who, he's young. He's 3, but he knows Fort Orange. We were out to dinner the other night at Fiden's, and he looks up on the wall and he goes, "That's Fort Orange," because the F in Fiden's is almost the same cursive S as Fort Orange. And he talks about it all the time. He asked us the other night, "Hey, Mommy, are we going to Fort Orange in the morning?" That's how he says it. So, like, it has become a part of their life to be there, and they love it. And it's the best decision we've ever made.
And then we have our oldest daughter, who's in the thick of high school and probably the least in it, because she's,
Where she is in
that
life.
social butterfly of being everywhere. However, she's top of her class. I'm a little proud of that. But she's taking these college business courses in high school. And she and her friends are launching their own clothing company, like out of nowhere. And she will never concede and give credit this way. But I like to think that's a little, bit of the entrepreneurial spirit that she gets from us in the store. And I'm excited to see how that grows and what the future brings as she goes through her little journey of college and all that fun stuff that's coming up. But it's all right there, and they're all doing their thing in their own way, at their own pace, just like you and I.
It is. It's beautiful to see how this decision has affected each of them in their own way, and how they are growing and becoming interested in what we do and want to be a part of it.
It's very cool. So let's just review with some very quick answers to some quick questions.
Okay.
All right. Was it a good time to buy the store?
No.
Was it the smartest and least risky decision we've ever made?
No.
Were there a billion reasons why we shouldn't have done it?
Yes.
Are there probably still a billion reasons why we shouldn't have done it?
Yes.
Would you have changed any of it?
No.
That's the point. And that's awesome.
No, it is awesome. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fights. It's been a lot of crying in frustration and just amazingness, because it has opened up a whole different world that we didn't know existed. And what it comes back to is just, again, our community of patrons, businesses around us, people that we've met through the business, and friends that we have gained along the way that I wouldn't trade it for anything.
And to go back to the beginning of the podcast when we told the story, and it really is a story of community. Fort Orange was born of community. Skylar is a pillar of the community
Mm-hmm.
and has built Fort Orange for us to take over and further in the community. And having your grandmother's support and backing, along with the family, your dad, our children,
Mm-hmm.
let alone our fellow business people down in Albany and all the organizations that are phenomenal to us, and all the local leaders that you like to rub elbows with, that have been phenomenal to us, and even Albany Police Department in last episode that we
Mm-hmm.
talked about. It it's a community, and that's what keeps us going, and it's awesome to be a part of it.
It does. It is everything that I have ever wanted that I didn't know I wanted, wrapped into one. It. I feel like I'm where I'm supposed to be right now.
You're talking about me, right?
Of course, Joe. Who else am I talking about?
And on that note, why don't we call it an episode?
Thank you so much for being a part of our show today and listening. And we would love to hear your thoughts about how you might have started your business, or if you are an entrepreneur looking to start a business, what questions do you have? What worries do you have? Anything that you want to get off your brain and ask us. We might not have all the answers, that's for darn sure, but we can provide a space to talk through things and hash it all out. That's what we're here for.
We're here to tell you where we messed up,
Mm-hmm.
where we took that gamble, where we succeeded, but I think more importantly, where we stumbled. I'm not going
Mm-hmm.
to say failed, but stumbled, because I think that's where you learn the most, and we're still doing it. So you can stumble
Mm-hmm.
and still succeed.
Yep, every day. Every day. If you do not learn something new, if you think you know everything, then you have a lot to do. You have a lot to learn. You got to grow. So we would love to hear from you in the comments on our podcast. You can text, and we will get that. And we want to hear from you. We want to hear from our listeners.
You guys are the best, and we want to thank you all for listening. And we look forward to sharing our lives with you next week on
Small business, big life. Inside Fort Orange General Store.